18-year-old boy attempts murder and is thrown in prison. But in this brutal juvenile detention center, he starts running a business. Shoveling snow for others. 301. Warming shoes in winter. 100% 1. Acting like a dog for people. 201. The reason he works so hard is for his childhood sweetheart, Diana. For Diana, he needs to save more money because he suffered all kinds of violence since childhood. His father, a gangster, beat him every day. Even when he was utterly exhausted, his father made him stand straight and take the beating. But even so, he never lost hope in life, because once he graduated from school, he could honor their promise to leave this city and move to Seoul together to start a new life. One day, when he came home, he found Diana lying in the living room covered in bruises. The attacker was his own father. Without a word, he grabbed a vase. By the time he came to his senses, his hands were already covered in blood. His father was left in a vegetative state. According to the doctor, his chances of waking up were extremely slim. He thought that having suffered domestic violence every day, the judge would take this into account and rule differently. But when he heard the verdict, he was shocked. 3 years in prison for attempted murder. Diana told him, "Behave yourself in there and try to get out early. Don't forget our promise to move to Seoul together." Causing trouble in prison would extend his sentence, but good behavior could reduce it. Today, he works hard to earn money as usual. The cell boss comes up with a fun idea, using Chase Young as a human target. Hit his nose and win 501. The leader is the cell boss, Sullivan, serving 2 years for sexual assault. Just as Sullivan pulls back the slingshot, aiming at Chase, the rubber band suddenly snaps, and the coin in his hand falls right into the toilet hole. Chase thinks he can escape this ordeal and easily earn that 501, but Sullivan says that's too easy. If he really wants that 501 coin, he has to pick it up with his mouth. The other inmates burst out laughing because someone had diarrhea yesterday, but Chase doesn't hesitate. He buries his head in there and picks up the 501 with his mouth. For Diana, he doesn't care about his dignity at all. He feels 3 years isn't that long. Just endure it a bit and it'll pass quickly. Every day, just looking at the photo with Diana gives him an inexplicable sense of happiness. Just then, the cell door slides open with a scraping sound, and a fierce-looking figure enters. The other inmates tremble in fear when they see him. This man is Marcus, who murdered 7 people in a row and was sentenced to 20 years, the maximum under juvenile law. Chase is stunned and completely frozen. Sullivan doesn't care about any of that. Anyone who enters this cell must follow his orders. When you come here, you better learn how to be a dog. But Marcus doesn't show him any respect. He immediately turns away, wanting nothing to do with him. Sullivan swings his fist and charges at him, and Marcus turns around, ready to defend himself. But Chase notices something. Someone who killed 7 people is clearly different from others. How could someone who survived under his father's fists since childhood not understand this situation? But Marcus takes a heavy punch to the face from Sullivan. No matter how Sullivan beats him, Marcus shows no intention of fighting back. The others are stunned by this scene. This guy's just a weakling, a waste of space. Every day after that, Marcus suffers constant bullying. No matter how much he gets beaten, he refuses to do any physical work. Thanks to him, Chase and the others are spared from beatings. That evening, Marcus is beaten to a pulp but still doesn't submit. Chase can't understand. Can't you just kiss up to him? No matter how much you hate him, he's the king here. If you really can't fight, just submit. It'll make your life easier. But Marcus doesn't want to hear his advice. He turns over and goes to sleep. The next day, Diana plans to bring Chase some snacks. But when she crosses at a traffic light, tragedy strikes. A guard from solitary confinement delivers this news to Chase. When he hears the news, he's utterly devastated. Diana is gone, and his life has lost all meaning. After this, he becomes dazed and lifeless, unable to muster energy for anything. Sullivan hasn't noticed anything wrong yet. He's still yelling at Chase about not cleaning the toilet. He walks toward Chase, cursing, only to find him staring blankly at the photo of the two of them in his hand. According to the other inmates, there was a car accident near the prison, and the victim was this kid's girlfriend. Sullivan snatches the photo from his hand. Looking at Diana's cute face in the photo, he makes a disturbing noise. Such a fresh-faced girl. What a shame she's dead. Anyone want this photo? Starting bid 100% 1. Or maybe not. I can take it back to bed tonight and enjoy it myself. Chase remains silent at first, then slowly stands up and walks behind Sullivan. Marcus watches and can't help but react, because he vaguely remembers something Chase said while they were working together. Chase said his father was actually a gangster's right-hand man, and violence was just routine for him. No matter what, I had to endure it. After all, he's the one who gave me life. But there was one time I couldn't hold back, and that was when he touched my friend. Chase throws a punch at Sullivan's face. The other lackeys are shocked, and even Sullivan can't believe this scrawny kid has such strength. Suddenly, everyone rushes forward, but Chase remains calm and composed. Although he was often beaten by his father, he learned how to fight because of it. Sullivan, beaten senseless, kneels and begs for mercy. "Don't you need money? I'll give you whatever you want, everything." But Chase says, "That sounds nice, but my reason for leaving here, my reason for enduring humiliation, and money, I don't need any of it anymore." When the guards discover the commotion and enter the cell, everyone is shocked. This scrawny boy has taken down 5 or 6 muscular thugs by himself. The entire cell looks like a hellish war zone. Even the head guard can't believe that timid and obedient Chase has such capability. Chase just says coldly, "Yes, that's right, I did it all." After that, Chase is sent to solitary confinement. Having lost his purpose in life, he stares at the photo of himself and Diana all day, unable to accept that she's actually left him. He slowly recalls all the memories from before. The more he thinks, the more absurd it feels. Then he punches the wall of the room. He blames himself terribly. If only he had held back that day and not attacked his father. If only this world's laws were more humane. If only the verdict had been fair enough. Or if he wasn't in this damn place. Diana wouldn't have come to visit him, and that tragedy wouldn't have happened. Would she now? Still be living happily? Blood from his hand slowly drips onto the floor. Having lost all will to live, he unconsciously sheds tears. A guard outside the window tries to comfort him. Even though the world is full of misfortune, you can't lose the will to live. Above all, living is what matters most. You haven't eaten anything for days. Calm down and think about it. Her spirit wouldn't want to see you destroying your body like this. You still have a road ahead to walk, don't you? At this, he collapses to his knees, powerless, and after sobbing uncontrollably, says, "I'm sorry." Meanwhile, in the prison cafeteria, everyone is talking. In Sullivan's cell, a really dangerous guy has appeared. His name is Chase Young. He beat Sullivan and his crew so badly they're in intensive care, then he was sent to the hole. Apparently the cell boss mocked his girlfriend. That kid went crazy and showed no mercy. Looks like that cell needs a new boss. Wonder who'll take the position. Suddenly, someone appears behind them and slams the loudmouth's face onto the table, declaring, "What nonsense are you all spouting while I'm gone? This sounds interesting. Count me in." The newcomer is Tyler Park, a member of the Heavenly Dragon Syndicate. Seeing the guy pinned to his food tray, everyone is startled and immediately agrees. "We were just making casual chat. Won't happen again." Then Tyler questions the loudmouth. "What's that guy's name?" Trembling all over, he finally says the name is Chase Young. Tyler doesn't ask more questions. He just says he's noted the name. A week later, Chase is released from solitary confinement. The guard reminds him, "Sullivan and his crew are still in the hospital. Don't cause any more trouble when you get out. We're letting you out early considering your situation. Behave yourself." Then he returns to his assigned cell. Keep in mind, the people in this room are all Sullivan's lackeys. Except for Marcus, everyone else is his underling. He expects them to retaliate, but instead everyone treats him respectfully, showing him nothing but concern. Marcus realizes something from this. In school, people compete on talent, family background, looks, and grades. But in this violent juvenile detention center, strength is everything. During free time in the yard, the next day, Chase finds Marcus, saying there's something he doesn't understand. "Back then, why did you do that?" "Because that day, I actually wanted to kill Sullivan, but you reached out and stopped me." "Why did you do that?" "You killed 7 people to end up here. What reason could you possibly have to stop me?" Marcus recalls his blood-soaked hands that day. The classroom at dusk, blood splattered everywhere, all 7 people present dead by his hand, and he's powerless to face the way others looked at him. Just as he's about to explain, Tyler Park appears before them. He looks at Chase with contempt. "You look so much weaker than me. How did you manage to beat Sullivan? I mean, Sullivan wasn't much, but losing to a punk like you? Why won't you submit? You trying to become the cell boss?" But Chase shows no interest. Don't read too much into it. Tyler is momentarily stunned. Then his veins bulge with anger. "You're really arrogant. Let me teach you where a punk like you should place himself. As an excellent loyal dog, you should serve your master properly." Just then, a guard passes by. Chase expects him to do something, but the guard walks away without looking back, as if it's none of his business. Because here, cell bosses can use maintaining order as an excuse to attack, and guards won't react. That's the rule in this detention center. You can fight back, just like you did with Sullivan. Why aren't you fighting back? Beating you like this is really no fun. Tyler reveals his full-sleeve tattoo, and that tattoo is the Heavenly Dragon Syndicate symbol. Chase stares blankly, but when he sees it, it completely ignites his inner rage. He's seen this tattoo hundreds of times. It's identical to his father's, a fierce-eyed blue dragon with the character for heaven in the center. Tyler doesn't seem to realize the gravity of the situation. He's still mumbling trash talk. "Your little girlfriend really picked the wrong guy, ending up with garbage like you. A waste of..." Chase slowly asks, "If you dare say that again." Then he stomps on his face and starts fighting back. pathetic. When has Tyler ever suffered such humiliation? Just as he's about to curse, Chase stomps hard on his head. He emphasizes again, I really, really hate the eyes of that dragon. Everyone in the detention center erupts in chaos. This guy's a complete psycho. He just got out of the hole and immediately causes this huge scene. Tyler lies barely alive at his feet, his face covered with marks from the chain link fence, blood pouring out from inside, and the muscles in his arm completely torn, blood unable to circulate, causing extreme swelling. Chase looks at the scene before him without any hesitation. Anyone who insults Diana must be punished accordingly. Shortly after, a horn blares across the yard. Exercise time is over. Everyone return to your cells, and in this tightly sealed detention center, a man watches everything happening in the yard. Warden Cross is entertaining a distinguished guest. I heard you just got out of the hospital. You're looking well. If you need anything, just ask. We'll provide whatever we can. But I don't know what brings you here. Who are you here to see, or is there something important enough to bring you here in person? Meanwhile, all the inmates have returned to their cells. Chase's cellmates are all on edge. Being in the same space with such a fierce and brutal person, they don't even dare to breathe loudly. Even Marcus can feel that cold, dark aura. Though they're the eyes of a living person, they carry the emptiness of the dead. Just then, a guard outside shouts into the room, 7199, Chase Young. Come out. You have a visitor. He's stunned when he hears this. How is that possible? Who could be coming to see me? He's always been alone. His mother ran away when he was young. He had no friends because of his father's identity, and Diana died in that accident. Logically speaking, there's no one close to him left in this world. But when he follows the guard, he discovers they're heading to the warden's office. He can't understand. He has no connection with the warden at all. The moment the door opens, rage instantly surges through him. Scattered memory fragments keep flashing through his mind. The visitor is his father, Victor Young, the man he beat into a vegetative state. He energetically greets Chase. His heart races. His brain can't process why this is happening. Warden Cross comes to explain. No need to be so surprised. Not long ago, your father miraculously woke up. This is a blessing from heaven that your father could be safe and sound. But Chase clearly remembers the doctor telling him the chances of waking up were extremely low. Otherwise, with current medical technology, he might never move again, unless a miracle truly happened. Victor feels deeply gratified and slowly speaks to his son. I simply couldn't believe it. After dedicating myself to the organization, who would try to kill me? The person who beat Victor Young to this state wasn't an enemy or the police. It was my own son. When I opened my eyes in the hospital and learned this, I was truly overjoyed. You heard right, because only like this are you truly Victor Young's son. How could a parent not think of their child? Why do you think I beat you every day? That's love, son. There's nothing I, as a father, wouldn't do for you. I had no choice. I had to kill her. It turns out that traffic accident when Diana crossed the street was all orchestrated by Victor. Diana didn't actually die on the spot. She was still breathing then, but Victor coldly watched from the side and told her, Diana, you can't understand what a father can do for his child. You said back then that a parent like me is worse than no parent at all, because from start to finish, you were an orphan with no parents. Victor originally thought Chase was just a weakling and a coward from birth, which is why he chose extreme methods to train him. But that day, when Chase resisted his father for the first time and struck so viciously, Victor finally understood. That girl was Chase's key. To awaken the beast within him, Victor killed Diana at any cost. Hearing the whole story, Chase can no longer contain his rage. The warden is completely stunned. Chase instantly charges at his father. He wants to crush Victor completely right now. Just then, crackling electricity erupts around him. A guard beside the warden instantly fires the stun gun. Chase is immediately hit with tens of thousands of volts. No matter how strong his body is, he can't resist this. Warden Cross sighs lightly. If anything happens to this important figure here, he'll lose his position. Even under this electric shock, Chase's eyes remain fixed on Victor. But Victor tells him, want to kill me? Fine, I'll tell you how. There are several members of the organization in this detention center. Though they've just gotten their Heavenly Dragon Syndicate tattoos, in time, they'll become pillars of the company. You need to prove you're stronger than all of them, and then take control of this detention center known for its violence. After that, gain the organization's recognition, and climb higher step by step. One day become a man who can take me down, then surpass me, the second in command. Face the dragon at the pinnacle and claim the Heavenly Dragon Syndicate. Accomplish what I, your father, couldn't in my lifetime. My life exists for you. Then he orders Warden Cross, take care of my son. The warden respectfully agrees. But suddenly, Chase forces his will and yanks out the stun gun wires. He doesn't care about reaching the top or the Heavenly Dragon Syndicate. He must kill Victor right now, but when he charges forward, a man instantly appears beside him and pins Chase's head to the ground. The other guard's eyes widen. When did he even appear? The man restrains Chase's hands and says, "I apologize, young master. Please forgive my rudeness. My job is to serve the boss." However, Chase struggles with all his might. The man is shocked. This young kid can actually resist the strength of the Heavenly Dragon Syndicate's action captain with just his legs. Victor admonishes him, saying, "Look clearly at the situation around you. Don't you understand? As you are now, you can't even get close to me. Reckless actions will only make things worse. The only way to kill me requires you to first control this prison and build your strength. That's what you should be thinking about now. When you've grown strong enough, come before me and kill me. My pitiful son, I'll keep moving forward. Looking forward to meeting you again that day." He merely told the warden, "Take care of my son." And the guards in the prison follow his every command, fulfilling any request. He vaguely remembers Victor telling him that the only way to kill him is to control this prison. For revenge, he must make everyone submit to him at any cost. But currently trapped in a cell of barely 100 square feet, where does he even start? Just then, a bald kid complains, "The prison food is only vegetables every day, not a bit of meat. It would be nice to have grilled pork belly or pizza or something." Chase seems to get an idea. He finds a guard and orders takeout: beer, barbecue, lobster, pizza, fried chicken, popcorn. The other inmates are astounded. Is this guy's brain not working right? He actually dares to say this to a guard in prison. However, before long, all kinds of takeout arrives at their cell. His theory is confirmed. All guards will treat him differently because of Victor's words. In other words, he's allowed to do anything in this prison. Next, he needs to test step by step where this prison's tolerance limit for him actually is. For revenge, he must use everything he has, even his identity as Victor's son, without hesitation. Just then, while everyone eats with relish, only Marcus stands apart. He's had a dark expression all day with no desire to communicate, because before this, Marcus was doing woodwork as usual. His hands and feet are particularly nimble. He quickly finishes today's workload. A guard tells him he can end work early. The other workers are extremely dissatisfied. Why does he get to finish so early? Killing 7 people gets you special treatment, but he acts like a waste of space. Just then, a young man carrying a toolbox arrives, and he discovers a familiar face appearing before him. Marcus also seems to sense the newcomer's presence and looks in his direction. The young man throws the toolbox toward Marcus. A screw rolls to Marcus's feet. When he sees it, terror instantly appears on his face. "So it really is you. The world is truly small. Haven't seen you since middle school graduation. Long time no see, Marcus." The newcomer is Ethan Lee, imprisoned here for robbery and arson. Seeing Ethan, Marcus's expression becomes extremely abnormal. He recalls the past. 11 years ago, Ethan and Marcus were very good friends. His greatest hobby was collecting animal specimens and pinning them to boards with nails. But Marcus had no interest in this at all. He especially found moths and butterflies disgusting. Even Ethan's classmates gossiped about him, always collecting insect corpses. It's really nauseating. They even mocked him. "Are you collecting bugs to eat them? Is it because you have no money for food? Need to eat bugs for protein?" Marcus, as Ethan's first good friend, promptly stepped in to stop the school bullying. When they heard Marcus, the class president, everyone stopped to avoid losing credits. Excellent student Marcus was often invited to extracurricular sports activities, while Ethan, who liked collecting bugs, wasn't bullied. He was constantly isolated. After that, the two drifted apart and were assigned to different classes when they advanced. Marcus only heard about him from others. Apparently, Ethan has been targeted by bullies lately. He even saw him getting beaten up by several people. Even today was the same. He was taken to an abandoned warehouse outside school. Hearing this, Marcus immediately ran. He had to save his old friend. He arrived at the warehouse, out of breath. Opening the door, he saw groups of thugs inside the warehouse, but Ethan was nowhere to be seen. Just then, Ethan appeared behind Marcus. He shoved Marcus into a wooden box and locked it from the outside, accompanied by a voice behind him saying, "Insect collection successful." Marcus realizes something is very wrong. It turns out that over these years, Ethan has become quite different from before. He was working with those thugs all along, but even after all these years, he still hasn't changed his habit of hammering nails. But what he likes to collect now isn't animals anymore, it's humans. Marcus suffered terrible torture in that box. Any slight movement brought piercing pain from the nails. Ethan was abnormally excited by this. His old friend's agonized groans brought him pleasure. The box was already riddled with nail holes, but even so, Ethan had no intention of stopping. Meeting him again, Marcus tightly grips a stick in his hand. Facing this psycho, he's full of vigilance. The guard senses the atmosphere isn't right and orders them to finish work and return to their cells immediately. Ethan doesn't dare openly resist. After the guard sees Ethan leave, Marcus finally lowers his guard, only to discover there's a nail in the stick. He hadn't even noticed he was already injured. The next day after that, Chase finds Marcus. He notices Marcus's unusual behavior and is about to ask about it when no one's around, when he suddenly sees a huge toolbox wobbling toward Marcus from behind, and all the nails from the toolbox fall onto Marcus. The person is his childhood friend, Ethan Lee, and he makes an excuse that his hand slipped. The childhood trauma makes Marcus tremble all over. He can only roar to cover his fear. But Ethan isn't intimidated. He declares, "What are you going to do about it?" However, at this moment, several large men appear behind him. These are the backers Ethan is doing dirty work for now. They claim, "Is this guy really your underling? We can't tell at all. He's clearly glaring at you." Ethan shows a sinister expression. "How could that be? He's quite famous in our area. My Marcus has been groveling before me since childhood. Have you forgotten all those childhood memories? Or does this remind you of certain things?" It turns out Ethan's reason for doing this is all just to brag. In this prison where strength is everything, to become superior you need credentials. Obviously, a murderer who killed 7 people, if he's your subordinate, it better demonstrates your superior status. And Ethan exploits Marcus's childhood trauma to force him to become his lackey. Seeing Marcus trembling all over, everyone believes this to be true. Ethan strikes while the iron is hot. He grabs a handful of nails and throws them at Marcus's face, but Marcus suddenly grabs Ethan's hand. "Do you want me to teach you how to kill a person?" Seeing Marcus's stern expression, even Ethan Lee feels intimidated. After all, Marcus is a ruthless and vicious guy. Faced with the noisy crowd, the guards step in to stop them, ordering everyone back to their cells. Provoked by Marcus, Ethan Lee is utterly humiliated. With no other choice, he storms off in fury. The other inmates were hoping to watch a good show, but they can't just ignore the guards' orders, so the matter ends abruptly. Chase and Marcus continue with their assigned tasks for the day. When they finish, they return to their tiny cell of barely 100 square feet. Chase speaks first, saying thank you to Marcus, but Marcus doesn't understand. Why is he suddenly thanking him? It turns out that earlier, because of what happened with Sullivan, Marcus calmly stopped Chase. If it weren't for him, Chase would have blood on his hands and would rot in prison for another 10 years. But he has a reason he must leave this prison, to kill Diana's murderer, and that person is his own father, the Heavenly Dragon Syndicate's double flower enforcer. But Marcus clearly remembers Chase mentioning before that his father had become a vegetable. Chase doesn't know how to explain it to Marcus. It's a long story. But anyway, he thanks Marcus for preventing him from extending his sentence. After that, a guard finds Marcus, saying he needs to leave for something urgent. He assigns Marcus the task of cleaning the warehouse and tells him to lock the door when he's done. After that, Marcus will be rewarded with time off. With that, the guard leaves Marcus alone to deal with this mess. For Marcus, the more time off the better. It'll help shorten his sentence. Just then, he spots a moth on the table. Seeing it reminds him of Ethan Lee, and he can't help wondering why Ethan became the way he is. However, Ethan Lee suddenly appears in the warehouse. He grabs the moth and keeps saying, "They're both insects. Everyone loves butterflies but finds moths disgusting. Just like back then, you were so popular, while I was rejected by everyone, and it's all because of you." Marcus is stunned. What does he mean it's all because of him? What did he do wrong? Ethan Lee claims that Marcus's kindness was just surface level, that he was actually distancing himself all along, covering up for his betrayal. "Deep down, you saw me as a disgusting moth, while you became the butterfly everyone loved. Being betrayed by your best friend, no one else can understand that feeling. Every single day was hell back then. You're the one who made me this way. But when I heard one piece of news, I completely lost it." Marcus, the model student and class president, killed 7 people with his bare hands. Can even a straight-A student become such a madman? Marcus's whole body trembles. He never intended to distance himself from Ethan Lee, but Ethan, with his narrow mind, strayed further and further from the right path and committed the cruel act of locking him in that box. And Marcus's once bright future turned into 20 years behind bars. But Ethan Lee doesn't care. He claims this isn't over yet. 2 large men suddenly appear behind Marcus and seize him firmly. Ethan coldly tells Marcus that this time, he won't let his insect specimen fly away so easily. Turning around, Marcus sees a rusty metal box standing before them. Facing this iron box, Marcus recalls the childhood trauma. He keeps backing away, but against the shoving of 2 large men, he's powerless. Ethan Lee becomes even more crazed. Watching his specimen being stuffed into the iron box, he doesn't hesitate for a second and personally slams the iron door shut. And this time, he locks it tight with chains. He declares, "This is a luxury mansion I prepared just for you." Inside, Marcus frantically pounds on the box. Suffering from claustrophobia, he breaks out in cold sweat. But what happens next shocks him even more. Insects keep crawling up his pant legs from below. Cockroaches, centipedes, and other creatures fill the entire iron box. A chill runs from Marcus's feet straight to the top of his head. But even so, Marcus soon forces himself to stay quiet. He knows this psycho Ethan Lee well. The more he screams, the more excited Ethan gets, and the worse the abuse will be. Just as Marcus suspected, When the box goes silent, Ethan Lee is dumbfounded, but instead, he shows an even more sinister expression. He plans to make Marcus scream non-stop until his vocal cords rupture. Meanwhile, back in the cell block, inmates are talking. Someone asks where Marcus has been. Nobody's seen him in a while. Another responds that a guard called him to the woodworking warehouse. Hearing this, Chase immediately senses something's wrong and slowly stands up. He then heads straight to the cell door and calls over the guard. The other cellmates think their cell boss is going to have the guard order takeout for another party, but to their surprise, Chase calmly says to him, "Open this cell door." The cellmates are all stunned. This is a prison, not a vacation resort. The guard is helpless about it. After all, Chase is the son of that terrifying man. Moments later, Chase appears before everyone. The others haven't even realized it yet. How does this kid walk without making a sound, just appearing out of nowhere? Chase coldly asks them, "So what exactly are you planning to do? How are you going to make him scream?" He then immediately grabs one man's shoulder. "Is this how you're going to make him scream?" However, when Chase sends the man flying with a simple kick, Ethan Lee and the others are shocked. This kid's got skills. Inside the box, Marcus hears a voice. "I'm here to repay my debt. I never owe anyone favors. Once I deal with this bastard, we're even." However, one of the large men catches on. "So you're Chase Young, huh? The punk who's been causing a huge stir in this facility lately. Seems like you've got no respect for your elders." Ethan Lee finally understands. This kid was always hanging around Marcus. Given the situation, is he his good friend? Don't be ridiculous. You're not here to save Marcus out of some sense of loyalty, are you? He's a famous rat. But the large man beside him doesn't care, since someone's delivered themselves for entertainment. Doesn't matter who he is. He just needs to take a beating. Just gotta be careful not to break him too quickly. Before he can finish, Chase executes a takedown and slams the large man to the ground. Seeing the large man lying motionless, Chase coldly says, "Such a big guy, yet nothing special." Ethan Lee, watching nearby, is completely stunned. Who the hell is this kid? Chase turns to look at the iron box in front of him. Seeing such sick behavior, he can't help but comment, "This is really too much. This guy has absolutely no boundaries." Ethan Lee has a different view. "Too much. Do you know how he treated me? Because of this snitch, my childhood was filled with extreme suffering, and he pretended to be my only friend when he was actually just putting on an act. You don't think sticking by his side will end well for you, do you?" Just then, the large man behind has already recovered. He locks his arm around Chase's neck. Turns out Ethan Lee's rambling was all preparation for this moment to make Chase lower his guard. At nearly 2 meters tall, he has absolute control from this position. Combined with his thick arms, being caught like this is no joke. Even if Chase wants to break free, a rear naked choke is truly troublesome. Chase immediately grabs his fingers and snaps them back. However, at this moment, Ethan Lee pulls out a blade and stabs it directly into Chase's side. He's heard of Chase Young before. If he doesn't go for the kill, he'll be the one who suffers. The pain from the abdominal wound, combined with oxygen deprivation from the choke, is enough to control all his movements. Just when it seems he'll be tortured to death, who would have thought, Marcus appears behind the large man and wraps the iron chain tightly around his throat. Ethan Lee is shocked. Wasn't he locked in the iron box? How did he get out? It turns out that just now, Chase's kick bent the box, which allowed them to escape from the predicament. Free from restraint, Chase doesn't hesitate for a second. He immediately kicks Ethan Lee to the ground. Meanwhile, Marcus tightens the chain with all his might. Even as the chain cuts into his own hands, he doesn't dare let go. He knows that showing mercy to others is cruelty to himself. Soon after, the large man's strength gradually fades. Finally, he collapses before Marcus. Marcus gasps for air, then immediately turns to look at Ethan Lee. Because of this scum, he now has another death on his hands. Seeing this, Ethan panics and immediately shouts that he's the victim, that it's because of Marcus he did all this. This should be considered self-defense. By all rights, he did nothing wrong. Hearing this, Marcus becomes even more enraged. After all, he lost 20 years of freedom. Seeing Marcus like this, Ethan Lee is scared shitless. He quickly drops to his knees, begging for mercy, banging his head on the floor repeatedly. Right now, Ethan Lee is like a beaten dog, willing to do anything to survive. However, Marcus remains unmoved and coldly tells Ethan Lee, "Your selfish delusions ruined my life. That's a fact. With 7 lives on my hands, I've imagined 10,000 ways to get revenge. But now, seeing you like this, I don't hate you anymore, because we were once very good friends." Hearing this, Ethan Lee feels even more humiliated. "Stop joking. I'm just biding my time. I'll soon find a way to make you pay." Just as he's thinking about how to get revenge next, Chase kicks him to the ground, and he instantly loses consciousness. Chase claims that Marcus might hold back, but he won't. Don't think you can get away with stabbing him. After resolving the situation and just starting to relax, a wave of pain hits Chase, making him wobble unsteadily. Marcus doesn't say much, just 2 words, "Thank you." It's enough to strengthen their bond. But suddenly, Chase's eyes widen. A formidable figure silently appears before them. He seems to have a huge problem with Ethan Lee. He immediately slams a fist into his face. Even though Ethan Lee is already unconscious, the man keeps raising his massive fists, pounding his head over and over. Even as blood splatters everywhere, he shows no sign of stopping. Chase and Marcus stare wide-eyed. Where did this psycho come from? Only when Ethan Lee truly stops breathing does he reluctantly stop. But this kind of person actually has a particular obsession with cleanliness. He believes blood contains tons of bacteria, and having it splatter on his face makes him unbearably itchy. He grabs Chase's clothes, for no other reason than simply wanting to wipe off Ethan Lee's blood. He even stares straight at Chase, asking if he's wiped it all off. Chase has no idea what's going on. What does this guy want? But suddenly he stares intently at Chase's number plate, muttering crazily, 7199, 7199, so you're 7199. He then immediately tries to attack Chase. Fortunately, at this moment, guards return just in time to stop the riot. This lets Chase escape disaster. Fighting this guy with an injured body would definitely not be worth it. The next day, during free time in the yard, all the cellmates follow Chase around like underlings following their boss. Chase feels confused. Nothing happened. So why are they surrounding him like this? One of them says they've all seen how capable Chase is. As long as they follow him, they won't get bullied. The person speaking is Chase's cellmate named Nate, because on this yard, you've shown everyone what you can do, and your identity is enough to intimidate them all. But Chase doesn't have the leisure to play power games with them. He still needs to find members of the Heavenly Dragon Syndicate. They all have blue dragons embroidered with red flowers tattooed on them, known as red flower dragons. He observes everyone on the yard, searching for any trace of this tattoo. Nate seems to sense something. He says, "You keep observing everything around you. Are you looking for something? I'm not a famous person, but I'm pretty good at gathering information." Chase doesn't refuse. If Nate can help him find those people, that would be perfect. After that, Nate participates in various activities everywhere to help Chase find relevant clues, because he wants to become Chase's right-hand man. Today, while they're tilling soil for planting, Nate accidentally flings dirt into someone's face. This person is the germaphobe Chase encountered before. Nate is horrified. What has he done? He's provoked someone with mental issues. The man erupts in fury, spittle flying everywhere. Seeing this, Nate can only apologize repeatedly, claiming he'll clean him up and disinfect him. But who would have thought? The man directly sprays pesticide in Nate's face. In an instant, Nate lets out an agonized scream. Even the dirty water on the ground doesn't matter anymore as he frantically washes his eyes. At this moment, the man asks something. "Is the guy with number 7199 in your cell? Can you do me a favor? I feel like he's not so clean. I want to help disinfect him. Can you bring this to him?" After that, Chase is doing push-ups in his cell. When Nate returns and sees him, he immediately starts flattering him. He claims that after exercise, you need to hydrate promptly for better recovery. When Chase takes the cup, he realizes this purple liquid doesn't look like grape juice at all. It's clearly insecticide. He drinks it without hesitation. After drinking, he even praises it. This is the perfect refreshing drink for hot weather. Seeing this, Nate is completely stunned. He poured it from the pesticide bottle. How can Chase drink a whole cup of pesticide and act so calm? It turns out Chase noticed something was wrong earlier. He emptied the pesticide beforehand and replaced it with real juice. He knows very well that unless Nate was being coerced, he wouldn't have the guts to do this. And the reason he's doing this is because he wants everyone in this cell to help each other without lies. Nate is shocked by such a magnanimous cell boss, but he has a question buried in his heart. As night falls, people in the cell are making their beds preparing to sleep. But Chase is using paper and pen to draw the Heavenly Dragon tattoo pattern. Nate comes over and makes small talk, asking what this pattern is. Chase doesn't avoid the question and explains, "This is a blue dragon embroidered with red flowers, called the Red Flower Dragon. I want to find people hiding in this facility who have this tattoo on their bodies. Don't you have anything else to say?" Nate hesitantly asks, "During the day, why did you do that? Actions like yours can easily backfire. Why trust others so easily?" However, Chase believes that people who are good at deceiving others are actually very smart people. Smart people don't make enemies everywhere. They also won't use lies to gain his trust. Being his enemy is a very stupid thing. I'll let this go for now, but if there's a next time, it won't be so simple. At this, Nate freezes in place. He looks at the Heavenly Dragon tattoo pattern on the floor, deep in thought. The next day, the guards gather everyone together because the judicial department is coming for an inspection. So everyone has to participate in a thorough cleaning. But a huge roar comes from one of the bathrooms. Nate stands there trembling. What awaits him is a barrage of angry cursing. "You promised to find a chance to poison him. Why are you saying you don't dare to do it now?" Nate stammers, unable to give a clear answer. "Since you won't do it, then you'll have to bear his pain. Let me thoroughly clean those filthy bacteria off your body. Where should I start? Mouth, intestines, or anus?" At this moment, Nate is terrified. When will Chase come to save him? Just then, a voice stops the man. Stop playing with that urinal. It's absolutely filthy, just like you're such a dirty thing. It turns out that earlier, while Chase was cleaning, Nate found Chase, claiming he needed to confess something. Someone threatened him to find a chance to poison Chase. But after thinking about it all night, he realized that as a human being, he can't be coerced like this. He won't compromise in the face of threats. He wants to stand on Chase's side. Even if he might get hurt by that man, he's going to refuse him now. And one more thing, that drawing you're obsessed with, the red flower dragon tattoo, it seems the person threatening me has that pattern on his body. Then Nate shows a sinister expression and walks away without looking back. And that's why Chase came looking. Having just finished relieving himself, Chase shakes the water off his hands. He turns and runs to the germaphobe, wiping his hands on the man's clothes. The man with extreme germophobia instantly explodes in rage, cursing, "What the hell are you doing? You bastard! 7199! I'm gonna tear you apart! Your mouth really stinks. Someone who threatens others to kill me actually has that damn tattoo. Then I can go all out on you without holding back. But before that, tell me about the red flower dragon." But he doesn't respond. He just keeps thinking about how disgusting it is to lie on the bathroom floor. He then raises his fists and attacks Chase. But facing such powerful punches, Chase remains calm. With a casual swat, he blocks the attack. For him, this seems like nothing more than child's play. Nate, observing all this from nearby, is overjoyed, thinking he really chose the right person to follow. But the OCD patient lying on the ground remains unmoved, not revealing any information. Chase has no choice but to dip his fingers in the urinal. Although he's reluctant to, if it'll make this guy talk, he's happy to oblige. He slowly reaches his urine-covered hand toward the germaphobe's mouth. This action makes him recall past events. It turns out he used to be a rising MMA star. His signature technique was using his legs to squeeze his opponent's abdomen, cutting off oxygen. But he often used dirty tactics to prevent his opponent from tapping out. He would hold down their hands, forcing them to pass out. However, one day his opponent couldn't withstand the lethal pressure. The technique made the opponent nauseous, and he vomited directly on the germaphobe. Even more ironic is that this cheating fight star had a fatal weakness no fighter should have, an extreme obsession with cleanliness. Even his own sweat from training disgusted him. The first thing he did after training was always shower. When he opened his locker in the locker room, he discovered it was filled with garbage, and behind him appeared a fighter he had previously defeated. The man pinned the germaphobe to the ground, unable to believe that such scum could become a rising star. I just easily pin him down and he can't move at all. Winning matches through dirty tactics doesn't make him a real fighter. He forcefully grabs the germaphobe's jaw muscles, trying to pry open his mouth and force-feed him garbage. But seeing such filthy things, the germaphobe bites so hard his gums bleed rather than open his mouth. He unleashes unlimited potential and flips his attacker over. Just like Chase right now, he pins Chase firmly to the ground, using techniques learned in the octagon. The germaphobe roars in fury. "You dare approach me with something so filthy? I'll use my techniques to break your ribs. Let's see if your chest is stronger or my legs are more powerful." Nate, hiding and watching from behind, panics slightly. Chase won't lose like this, will he? If he really loses, Nate is done for. But to his surprise, Chase starts laughing. Chase is thinking of that man from before. His father never held him gently like a son. Instead, there were mountain-like rear-naked chokes that nearly broke his spine several times, teaching him how to truly fight. So this level is nothing worth mentioning. How could I forget those near-death memories? Thanks to him, I learned to fight in any situation. This kind of child's play is as simple as taking a piss. Want to try and see if my abdomen explodes first or your spine breaks first? What's this? Are you begging me for mercy? Do you want me to let go? That's too bad. I never learned how to do that. After that, while everyone is still cleaning, a horrifying scene appears in the men's bathroom. Kevin is tied up by Chase and Nate, with a urinal strapped over his mouth. No matter how they interrogate him, the germaphobe still doesn't reveal anything. Left with no choice, Chase slowly unbuckles his belt. Seems like I'm not very good at torture. Can't help it. Since you love being clean so much, let's try this method. Maybe this warm fountain will make you remember something or even make you talk. Everyone in the Heavenly Dragon Syndicate must get a tattoo, the red flower dragon. This tattoo has unique meaning. The dragon represents power and strength. The flower symbolizes vitality and life. No matter how beautiful and vibrant the flower blooms, it will eventually wither. The reason such a massive criminal organization accepts minors with no power is because they're looking for the next generation, seeds that can grow into towering trees. These people have potential that adults don't, but potential depends on their environment and experiences. When the Heavenly Dragon Syndicate recruits talent early on, they nurture and train them in the organization's greenhouse. Only seeds that grow in harsh conditions can bloom into dazzling flowers and gradually grow into dragons ready to soar. This is what Kevin reveals when he's about to be force-fed urine, the secret of the red flower dragon spilling out in desperation. He's not a high-ranking member, so he knows very little. This makes Chase recall his father. Victor beat him countless times every day. Even when knocked down, he had to get back up. This terrifying and cruel training method, was it to make me bloom faster and grow stronger than anyone else? Instead, Kevin can't understand. Why are you asking about my organization? Do you want to join the Heavenly Dragon Syndicate, or are you planning to challenge it? If I were you, I'd run away with my tail between my legs instead of doing something so stupid. These words make Chase's veins bulge with anger. He steps forward and grabs Kevin's throat. After that, the cleaning continues. Chase works hard mopping the floor but finds one spot that won't come clean. Nate kneels on one knee and hands him a bottle of bleach. He sincerely says thank you. From now on, I'm your guy. Thanks to you taking care of the germaphobe, I can finally sleep peacefully. You've been looking for the Heavenly Dragon Terror Organization. Why do you have to find them? Many people in the facility have tattoos. Finding the specific red flower dragon tattoo isn't easy. So far, you've found 2 people. Do they have anything in common? This question awakens something in Chase. Thinking carefully, he realizes both people he took down were cell leaders. That means if I find every cell's leader, I can actually find people with red flower dragon tattoos, but Nate says it doesn't need to be that complicated. Next week, there's a gathering only cell bosses can attend, called the Day Assembly. It's a quarterly gathering that brings all cell leaders together to strengthen their relationships. But that's just the official story. Actually, it's an illegal gathering in this facility called the Illegal Council. It's approved by Warden Cross. They're not just simple local bullies. I heard their scale is comparable to a massive criminal organization. They're involved in all kinds of dirty criminal activities. All the cell leaders will be there. You can find them all there. A week later, the day assembly takes place as scheduled. All the leaders arrive at the room. One white-haired man speaks first. Tyler Park and the germaphobe were both beaten, right? I heard it was some punk named Chase Young. Seems like it. This whole thing seems strange. I'd love to face that hunting dog. Don't be so aggressive. Everyone control your tempers. While they're making noise, the door opens. Chase grabs a shovel by the door. I went to so much trouble, but finding you all turns out to be this easy. This scene stuns everyone present. This kid dares to be so arrogant all by himself. But Chase says calmly, I'm going to deal with all of you, not leaving a single one. Come on, let's get started. However, one man remains calm. I refuse your request. You use maintaining order as an excuse, believing organization leaders will use violence. It seems you act with such a belief. But you've overlooked the most important part. There were reasons for defeating those 3 people recently. They accepted challenges you issued to them. We usually call that a dual justification, but I'm different. There's no benefit for me, and no legitimate reason to respond to this fight you're starting. If you insist on throwing punches recklessly and disrupting order in the facility, the other cell leaders won't let you leave alive. Even so, do you still plan to attack? Chase freezes in place and doesn't continue his action. He realizes this man is right. If he acts recklessly, forget about other cell leaders targeting him. Whether he can even leave here safely is questionable. This mindless behavior will only turn everyone in the facility against him. The chance of leaving here unscathed will greatly decrease, let alone controlling this place. This goes against his original purpose. He needs to think carefully about how to handle things from now on. And so far, he's confirmed where the tattooed people are. There's no need to rush and act rashly. The man approaches and asks, looks like this drama is over. You don't want to fight anymore. From your behavior, you seem to have strong hostility toward the Heavenly Dragon. Seems you don't know your place yet. What a pitiful little boy. You're still green. Then a man with glasses raises his voice and shouts, everyone, come over here. The assembly officially begins. First, some people have unavoidably been absent. Sullivan from cell block 65, Tyler Park from cell block 7, Kevin the germaphobe from cell block 2. They're all absent due to injuries, and the person who caused these incidents is here, number 7199, Chase Young. Starting now, we announce, you've become the new leader of cell block 36. As the new cell boss, do you have anything to say? He observes the situation around him. There are about 15 cell bosses here. That means he not only has to face 15 formidable people, but also figure out how to naturally take them all down. But he's not in a hurry. He feels being just a small cell boss isn't important at all. The path he needs to walk isn't limited to this. Specs continues hosting the discussion. Income inside the facility is operated by cell leaders. We usually call these shops. A portion of the profits from these shops goes to gifts for Warden Cross. This quarter, one shop hasn't delivered its tribute yet. Danny Park's gambling racket. Danny Park explains he's been too busy, but will definitely deliver it to the warden's office before today ends. However, Silver behind him isn't pleased. There's a strange rumor circulating in the facility that the games in the gambling operation are all based on trust and fairness. But why are people saying the games are rigged? Danny Park doesn't give him a pleasant look, stating he would never do such a thing. If you find a scam in my gambling operation, you can cut off my head. These words echo in Chase's mind. Looks like he's thought of a way to break through.